Let me take you on a journey of the mind and art of the mind and mind art, if you will. It's actually called Neurographical art, and I recently discovered it, and I want you to come join me. It's great as a therapy and interesting as an art form. So come be a sanity seeker with me, people. In this quick demonstration, I've started by being angry and annoyed and drawing those feelings on paper. And then I went through and smoothed off and rounded off all the sharp lines to make a neurographical art form. Neurographic art is an art form that was designed by a Russian psychologist named Pavel Piskarov. I've destroyed this name. It's Pavel Piskarov. Anyway, it was designed in 2014 by Pavel. It's an intuitive form of art that involves mindfulness and intentionality. We have over 100 billion neurons that transmit information from the brain to the rest of the body, and these neurographic artworks kind of look like neurons and cells. This is an article that was written by Marcia Beckett on neurographic art from the website artisbasic.com. Highly recommend it. And she goes on to say that Piskarev's definition is that neurographic art is a creative method of world transformation. It helps evolve our reality by engaging our emotional and aesthetic intelligence for discovering solutions to a variety of issues that you may be working through. Neuro meaning it relates to the cells and neurons that carry messages throughout our body from our brain, and graphics meaning artistic or imagery. With this, that's why I started off by drawing my emotions on paper and then having the intentionality of calming down and processing what I was angry about. And was phenomenal. It was a very amazing transformation in how I felt and how I thought about what was going on. So I wanted to take that idea and do more with it and see how it felt to do an actual artwork. And while it wasn't as transformational as a therapy, as in that I wasn't processing as much about my emotions, it was more about mindfulness and being in the moment and enjoying the art form and trying to adhere to the rules of Neurographica, with the circles and the rounding off and making sure there's no sharp edges. Initially with this artwork, my thought was to make a neurographic tree, which was lovely in my mind, but when I started doing it, didn't look how I thought it would look. So, while I continued with my idea of having the green on one side and the trunk on the other, I found that with the art form, to feel good, it needed to flow, and I felt like the colours were one chunk and then another chunk. There was no flow to it. So I continued with the art form, and to get more texture, I did my favourite technique of putting the alcohol over the flicker rod, is what I will call it. I'm not sure what it's actually called, but it's strands of plastic like a brush, and you use it to flick the liquid over the top and to get this beautiful cell effect. So I have cells within cells within cells, which is lovely. And then I went over the top with my brass alcohol ink and defined all of our lines again and make sure again that everything was completely smoothed off. So this entire piece is done on tile. It is done with alcohol ink, and it was a beautiful experience, and I would like to do more of it. This is my first go at it. Each cell I wanted to pop out and make more 3D, so I put a little bit of white in the corners, not that there are corners, but in sections of it, to make it look like light was hitting it. And at the point where I realized that there was no flow, and that really frustrated me, and this is not about frustration, this is about connectivity, I took some of the green off and then went through and redid my oranges and yellows and brought that flow through, so they're more like rivers, if you will, and that made me much happier. And I'm not an abstract artist, so this kind of art form was very different for me, and again, it was very interesting. So it was very much a case of looking at it more as an abstract and less as a thing. And to bring the colours through and make them more swimming with one another, I brought more yellows and oranges in amongst the other cells so the colours would meld a little bit and not be so harsh against each other. And that was a really comforting effect as well. I do like the contrast of the beautiful vibrant colours against the metallic brass. And in a moment I will continue building with that contrast. I'm using a oil-based pen to outline all my cells, and I thicken some areas to give it more of a 3D look. And here they're starting to look much more cellular, more 3D. Of course, the process took a long time, and there wasn't a whole lot to think about, which was lovely. Like, I didn't have to think about whether something was in proportion or if it looked right, or, you know, this was a very intuitive piece of artwork. And I went over each cell and put some UV resin to raise it and make it look more 3D, and cured each cell with a UV light. It did take some time, but the effect, I feel, was really lovely. And as a therapy, it's kind of almost like a fidget toy, in that it was lovely to feel as well as look at. It was more of an interactive art piece. So there you have it. There's my first abstract art and my first Neurographica artwork. I highly recommend it to just try out, and if you're feeling frustrated, just do a scribble and work through your emotions. It was very, very effective, and I'm very pleased I found it. Thank you for joining me. This is Tanya from Out of the Blue Artistry. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.